perfect website sales funnel. Really perfect. Okay, well, if that's what it says, that's what we shall deliver. Now, chances are, if you're watching this, then your website is probably the first step in your company's sales process. And particularly if your website is there to generate leads for your business, it's really important that you're able to take website visitors on a journey which starts from awareness of your business into a process of actually becoming a customer and giving you money. Until they give you money, your marketing hasn't paid off. And obviously, this is called your sales funnel. Oh, thanks, Captain Obvious. Get this website sales funnel right and you build a reliable, repeatable, scalable way of getting more customers. But get your website sales funnel wrong and you risk leaving money on the table in unsold customers. So in this video, we're going to share some tips on how to create the perfect website sales process, which not only generates leads for your business, but actually increases the likelihood of those leads turning into customers. So stay tuned, let's go. Okay, so what do we actually mean by a sales funnel? Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty creative today, so I thought I'd draw you a little picture.
Two hours later. 3 hours later.
Look at this beaut. Okay, the masterpiece is ready. What we've got here is a very simple funnel diagram, which will be very familiar to you. So we've got this thing where people come into the top of the funnel and they go through some sort of process that eventually leads them to spending some money, hopefully with you, okay? And we've got people at different stages of this process. Now, to make this something that we can all understand and we can all identify with, let's think about the process of buying a new car. Every time somebody buys a car, there is a trigger which first starts this process, kind of gets them into the top of the funnel. So this trigger could be anything. It could be something that somebody says, your car looks a bit rubbish. It could be that they've had a pay rise, they have more disposable income. It could be that they see an advert. It could be that they notice their car maintenance bills increasing, whatever it might be. At some point, there's a trigger which begins this process. Now, is someone at that stage ready to take a test drive? Absolutely not. They have absolutely no intent. They have no timeline in mind at all. At this point, they might do some very top of funnel things. They might install the Auto Trader app, for example. They might start having a look around. Maybe they might check out some buyer's guides, but really, they're very, very early on in the process. They're really not ready to take any sort of action which would represent commercial intent. But now their radar is up, and as time goes on and they start embedding the idea and getting familiar with it, they start to notice stuff. They start to notice cars on the road for the first time. They start talking to their friends who've just recently bought a car. How are you finding it? And that type of thing. So they start becoming more interested. Now, are they ready to book a test drive yet? No, that's still too high a commitment. That's still too high commercial intent. They're really not at that stage yet, but their radar is definitely up. So eventually, as someone goes through the research phase, they will begin to identify perhaps the particular make of car that they're interested in, maybe the particular model, maybe even the variant. So at this point, they're much closer to purchase. If you offered this person a test drive of a particular car, would they take it? Well, maybe they would. Maybe that would be the right stage for them, but it might still be a little bit too early. Now, at this point, if you're buying a new car, you might be playing with the build your own car on the manufacturer's website to see the particular spec, and you begin to visualize yourself owning it. Finally, you get to the point where you're really ready to start looking. So at this stage, you're looking on Auto Trader with intent to purchase. You might start sizing up local dealerships, figuring out who you're going to want to go to. You might start looking at their inventory, stuff like that. Now, at this point, you are a very, very valuable lead because you're almost ready to go. You're ready to buy a car. You know you're going to do it imminently. You've kind of come to terms with that. If someone offers you a test drive, absolutely, you're there. You're ready to go. Okay, great story, Tim. That's a few minutes of my life. I'm never going to go back. How does this relate to website sales funnels? Well, here's the thing. And here's where it all ties back. The vast majority of websites, maybe even yours, only cater to people at this stage. They're only targeting people who are right at the bottom of the sales funnel. They are ready to go. So if you've got a website which says inquire now, if you've got a website which says get a quote, you've got to accept that really you're targeting people predominantly at this end. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. This is the most valuable type of customer. These people are worth the most because they are ready to buy. But here's the thing. They're also the people that all of your competitors are targeting. So when this person searches for something on Google, usually that keyword is going to have a high cost per click, most commercial intent, most competitive sorts of terms to target. So there's a couple of opportunities here. Firstly, we can increase the number of people in our world if we expand to be targeting people that are earlier on in the buying journey. But the second opportunity is that by targeting people in this early stage, we actually get a chance to influence them as they're going through this process to becoming a qualified lead. We get to help them make the decision. And of course, this means that when they do get to this point, we don't have to compete with our competitors for them because they're already in our world. We've had a relationship, we've been building trust with them throughout. So the first principle to building a killer website sales funnel is to meet people where they are at. Yes, you want to give these people a compelling call to action, but also a good idea to give these people a compelling call to action as well. If you're offering everyone a test drive, bear in mind that only these folk are going to take it. Okay, metaphoritis, you're overwhelmed, forget it, right? Okay, so let's look at a real life example of how this applies to a website. So let's take a look at HubSpot as an example. Now, HubSpot offers marketing automation, CRM type software. It's a software subscription. When you come onto the HubSpot homepage, the call to action is get HubSpot free. Now, this is really compelling for people that are ready to take a test drive of marketing and sales automation and CRM software. This is great. This is the test drive, free, no obligation, let's get started. Perfect for people that are at that stage. And if you go to their case studies page, you will see that the call to action is get HubSpot free. Why? Because case studies are for people that are interested in a solution and they're researching how they might be able to benefit from that solution. So get HubSpot free is absolutely perfect. I can read about their story, I can watch a video, or I can then go and get the software free. That's perfect. And that's the test drive call to action for people that are at that stage. But HubSpot also has content on their site which is targeted at people further up the funnel, i.e. marketing managers who may not know that HubSpot is the right solution for them. They may not know that they have a need for, say, marketing automation software. So have all these resources on the site, and typically these resources are like ebooks, and if you click on it, then you can click to download it for free, and what happens is an email capture. So these people may or may not be even thinking about marketing automation software. They might be very top of funnel, but here's something which is targeted at those people. This is great. This is meeting me exactly where I am. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to put my email in here and I'm going to start getting emails about HubSpot service. They now know that I'm a good potential target customer if I'm interested in this topic, and eventually I'm going to be at a point where I understand enough about HubSpot's offering that I can make a decision about whether or not I want to purchase it. So this is targeting top of funnel traffic. We also see they've got courses and certifications and lessons, exactly the same sort of thing. So what's this got to do with marketing automation software? Almost nothing, other than they know that anybody who signs up for this is interested in marketing, and there's a chance that that person might then go on to become a HubSpot customer at some point down the line. So action item number 1 is to think about the different stages in your sales journey that people will go through and what you can offer on your website that targets people at these different levels. If you're just starting out, you're probably only going to be targeting people with commercial intent at the bottom of the funnel. But as your business grows and as you want to increase your visibility, it's going to be more important that you bring more of these other people into play by offering calls to action and stuff that is interesting and relevant for them at the stage they are at. Key sales funnel principle number 2 is to make your sales funnel a slippery slide. I'm going to tell you another story because I think you're up for it. Fast food drive-thrus, they really make absolutely no sense at all. Imagine you've got a McDonald's, it's got a car park, and people drive up and they get out of their car, they go into the restaurant, they order their food, they have their food, they leave the restaurant, they drive away. Imagine thinking, do you know what would be good? If they didn't even have to leave their car. So they drive up, they go around the little thing, they order from a hatch, they sit in their car, they then often go and park in the car park and eat their food in the car park instead of coming into the restaurant. Why does that make any sense at all? Well, the reason why it makes so much sense and the reason that the drive-thru is often way busier than even the restaurant is because Ronald and his friends knew that the key to maximizing sales was to reduce the friction at every point in the sales process. So you don't even have to leave your car to get McDonald's. Okay, what has this got to do with sales funnel, Tim? Well, we need to make your sales funnel a slippery slope, and that means we need to reduce friction at every stage in the sales funnel. And if you find that you've got blockages in your sales funnel where people are maybe you're getting lots of leads through your website, but you're not turning those leads into customers, then the problem may be that we don't have a slippery enough slide, i.e. the stages in your sales funnel don't flow naturally into each other. I think I'm going to do some more drawing. Okay, so let's assume that your sales process looks something like this. So at some point, someone's going to become a lead on your website, or they might give you a call or something. That's the first interaction. Then there's going to be a number of interactions that happen over time until eventually they become a customer and they give you money. What we need to do is we need to make each step in this process 3 things. Firstly, we need to make it easy. Secondly, we need to make it attractive. That's supposed to be a heart, by the way. And thirdly, we need to make it low risk. So every step in your process should feel each of these, and that's what we call a slippery slide. So for example, Exposure Ninja, we're a digital marketing agency. So when you go onto the Exposure Ninja website, we've got a short questionnaire for you to fill in, which asks you a bit about your business, a bit about your current digital marketing and your marketing goals. We will then record a 15-minute video, which shows you some ways to increase the leads and sales that your website generates for you. We send this to you completely free of charge by email, and it's fantastic. So that's the first step in our process. Now, is it easy for you to request it? Absolutely. Is it attractive? Absolutely. It's a brilliant service. We've had people say they've just followed the advice in the review and they've improved their marketing results. And is it low risk? Completely. It's totally free of charge. There's no obligation to use our service. So that's the first step in our sales process. The next step after that is we offer a free consultation. So in this free consultation, you'll have a chance to talk to the person who put your review together. So this is a great opportunity to ask them any questions, ask them for any additional advice, and they can also see if you need some help with your digital marketing. Now, if you do need some help in your digital marketing, then we go through a process which moves you through the sales process to potentially becoming a client of ours. So this is our sales process. Notice how we've made the first step as easy, attractive, and low risk as possible. And this is really important, but every step in your process needs to be easy, low risk, and attractive. So the action step for you at this stage is to think about each of the stages in your process. How can you position that? How can you essentially sell it to your customer as something that's easy, attractive, and low risk to do? What do they take away from it? And how can we reduce friction? Think the drive-through. How can we make it as easy as possible for someone to move through your sales process without really introducing risk, without forcing them to do things that they don't want to do? So component number 3 of a perfect website sales funnel is that it's systemizable and scalable. So what do we mean by that? Well, each of these steps in your sales process should be easy to repeat. They should all be built from essentially templates. They should have very clear processes built for each one. Now, over the years, we've had a lot of clients who have had a very ad hoc sales process, i.e. we generate them a lead through their website, and hopefully if that salesperson continues to do something, at some point, those leads will become sales eventually. But this isn't really ideal because it's very difficult to improve a system if you don't know what's actually happening in the system. So that's why you'll notice the most effective sales organizations will have very clearly mapped processes for each of these stages along their sales journey. One of our clients that did a fantastic job of this was a legal lead generation business. So we blew up their marketing to the stage where they were getting over 400 leads a day. Now, when you're getting 400 leads a day, you can't have an ad hoc sales process. That can't be people making a general inquiry and just giving you a call and seeing what happens. You need a very clear, straightforward system for processing that. So what our client did was build a form on their site which took information from the website visitor, which allowed their team to pre-qualify people just through the information in the form. They could then process that information according to what people's answers were in the form, send them out an information pack, in this case by post, and when the person sent that pack back, they could process the legal claim. So it's very systemizable, very scalable, and they can track improvements in the process through things like tweaking the wording in the pack that they send out, adding in a call before they send out the pack to see what that does to response rates, and so on. But they built a process which allowed us to scale their lead volume without the whole business completely collapsing under the weight of all these leads. So action item number 3 is to map out the interactions at each stage in your sales funnel and think through what's the desired outcome. What are the possible objections someone might have at this stage, and how can we handle them? How can we build scripts which allow our team to handle each of those objections? And doing that is obviously going to build you a highly effective sales funnel, which will allow you to increase your marketing investment, which will allow you to throw more leads through it. So it's a self-perpetuating cycle of awesomeness. The SPCOA. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit outside the kind of digital marketing stuff that we normally look at, but this website sales funnel stuff is a really important consideration to make if you're looking to scale your digital marketing. So remember, we looked at the 3 components of an awesome website sales funnel. Firstly, it meets your audience where they are. Remember, we're not going to be offering everyone a test drive because they're not ready for that yet. The second thing that we looked at was making sure your sales funnel was a slippery slide, i.e. moving to every step was easy, attractive, and low risk. And then the third thing that we looked at was making your sales funnel repeatable, scalable, and systemizable by mapping out each interaction point, thinking through what's the outcome that we want, what are the possible objections we might receive at this point, and basically meticulously designing each step of the process so you know exactly what sort of percentage conversion rate you're going to expect at each point, so you can then make some changes and see how things interact. This is how you test, measure, and improve. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please feel free to subscribe to our channel. We post at least one digital marketing video every week, and we also have a live digital marketing workshop here on our YouTube channel. You might also be interested in checking out the Exposure Ninja podcast. You can go on a podcast app and search Exposure Ninja. You know how to do that by now, right? And of course, don't forget to request your free website and marketing review from the Exposure Ninja site at exposureninja.com. Until next time, see you soon.